2 years after, while this day and night was still arguing about how much they will pay me and all that, because for the 2 years of this day, I didn't earn a dime. I didn't earn 10 kobo. But I knew I was writing for this day for myself, not for them, because I was marketing myself to the entire country. You open this day every Sunday, you see my photo and you see my name. I thought that was worth more than $1 million. Now, I didn't know how I would monetize that eventually, but I just know that, okay. Now, Punch writes me, offering me to be an external columnist. Now, this is Punch that I went to beg. I applied to be correspondent, and they said I failed their test. Now, the management writes me, I did not write any letter, I did not apply. He was just discovering letter. Okay, no, don't worry. And they write me, offering to pay me almost 3 times what this day was offering me as a full staff. To come and do just 2 pages every week, I don't have to go to the office. Just write a column and send to us. What they were paying me was more than what they were paying some of their staff at my level who will work from Monday to Saturday, who work on the beat. Now I take that offer. And I remember well that the day my column debuted at the Punch, my photo was on the cover of the Punch on Friday. I was driving in my Mitsubishi Galant. I was probably going to drop my wife at work. And I said, let me buy Punch, my column is that too. And go and build that, see my photo on the cover. Okay. So if you work in this day, you think you work for a very big media organization. You think the whole country reads you. But if you move to Punch, you will realize that, okay, wow, this day did not even scratch the surface. So you write for Punch where you get phone calls from all powerful and mighty and everybody, but you must not get carried away. So after a year plus at Punch, I decided that it was time to move. That I wouldn't do it anymore. It was getting boring. I thought it was time to now focus on this business that I say I wanted to do. I seen prospects, I would get offers from here and there. And as at that point, I still live in Akute. I still had only one rickety car, and I still didn't have money. Then the job offers started calling from multinationals. My friend, Tony Khan, would ask me, send me your CV. He was in the bank then. Send me your CV now, come join corporate comms. I'll never send. He will see me, he will insult me. There's another friend of mine who was in the bank also. They all wanted me to move to corporate comms. FMCGs could come, which was why I said, understand clearly earlier what is what. Now, so I'm at this point where, yes, I'm celebrated in my industry, but I didn't have money. Journalists travel all over the world, but they can't even pay their kids' school fees. Okay, so I'm celebrated, I've traveled, I know everybody, but I still don't have money. I remember that I was cutting in my friend's office on Off Alley, that's the animation, and we had a small room there. And my staff, who was working like my PhD, will take my wife's ATM card when she earns her salary. That's what we used to run our business. Because this day wasn't paying me. And I was not one that believed in brown envelopes and taking money from Soviets. If your album is bad, I tell you that your album is bad. Okay, be my friend. So the job offers started to come. Do I take these job offers with the cars and the houses and foreign trips and all that, or do I now go and focus on my own business? I choose to focus on my business. A lot of my friends thought I was stupid. But guess what? They thought I was stupid also when I was living this day for Punch. They thought it was a bad move. They thought I was stupid when I was living in Comium with no job and all that. They thought I was stupid when I was proposing to my wife in final year in uni. A lot of my friends said to my face, you are stupid, you are leaving university, you don't know where your life is going to. You are proposing to a woman. You are a fool. They came to the cocktail and they are like, this boy is stupid. He doesn't even get his priorities right. So they had thought I was stupid every step, but he proved wrong. By the time I left school, 1 year after, I was married. A lot of those guys then are still single today. They come to my office. They are still struggling. The friends who insulted me when I moved to Akute, that, oh boy, this is where you live, I won't come here again. No. This place is far, man, I can't come here again. In fact, there's a particular guy who came down once and never came again, who thought it was a bad move. He still lives in his grandfather's house, he's married with kids. Because people, now it's comfortable, his grandpa doesn't live there. Do you get what I'm saying? But people don't want to start small. They want to wait. You don't want to buy a car because this is your dream car. My first car was Nigerian used, 250,000 naira. So when my sister balanced the money, it will break down on the road. It will overheating. From there, I bought another one. From there, I bought another. People don't want to start small, especially today. So when they thought I was being stupid not to take the job of ours, I remember how many times they thought I was stupid. I said, okay, as long as people around me, my sister and my wife, support me, even if they don't understand it, I'm fine. So I wrote to Punch, which was, I'm sure it's unheard of. Punch fires people almost anyhow. You can't fire Punch, but everybody wants to work in Punch. So I write to them that, thank you for this brilliant 1 year plus almost 2 years. But at this point, I think I want to go on and do other things. So at first, they told me I couldn't write English. Then they came to ask me to be an external columnist. I took the offer. Then I jumped into that. My own thing. And in doing my own thing. You remember I started in my living room in Akute. Now I moved to Okwemi a few years later. After a lot of my friends harassed me, you can't be living here now. But they practically contributed money. One particular guy gave me 500,000 naira to purchase my house rent. So I moved to Okwemi and I walked from his office. And I said, okay, now let's start. And you know what it means when, if anybody here works in the media, when you work in the media, you're a superstar, your phone rings all the time. The day you stop, when they call you, hey, I want something for your calling, but you say, oh, boy, I know they point, hey, oh, hey, who contacted them? Give me the person number. They don't care about you. Yes. If they were bringing, in fact, there was a case, I think, at the Comium that somebody was bringing a AMPA. The person I called the guy, and let's say you are the editor, and they were bringing AMPA to you, and say, oh, boy, I'm no longer the editor. I'm trying to say, hey, well, who come there? They will check this guy. That's how the media works. But guess what? If you are clear about what you want to do, you will sacrifice all that and go and focus. And then you decide, okay, I wanted to be an artist. Remember, I started doing artist management. I never wanted to do public relations. I didn't know jack what PR was all about. My friend Samuel and Babadi took me to Keke in his office. Keke became my friend because he liked my writing. And they said, okay, Baba Keke, this is our new manager. He will manage us. And Keke said, I can't manage you. You shouldn't be doing artist management. You should be doing PR. You are a fantastic writer. It's like a key ingredient to be a PR person. Guess what? I was not selfish or stubborn. I went back to think about it. Okay, what this guy has said, how does it make sense? And I followed it out. At that point in time, we were working for Kenya Music almost for free. But the value he gave me was that he practically took a career and handed it over to me. Now, we started from here. That's the name of my first company. It means all you ever need in entertainment is AYEN9 Entertainment. That's the business that I registered with 15,000 naira. You know, of course it was. And we're doing it. We worked for everybody to face it. We are naming. Two of my friends kept telling me, Fumi Victor Okigo, who is an event planner, and Deola Atalade, who is an interior decorator, kept saying to me, you can't keep calling your business AYEN9. It's a bit personal, it's not broad, you only work for musicians and actors, don't you want to work for bands and telcos and oil and gas and all that? You know, and I'll argue, I'm passionate about entertainment, blah, 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 blah. And someday I said, okay, these people have nothing at stake. This is think about this thing. And we came up with Black House Media. Okay. We were very successful here, or so we thought. We had conquered the entire entertainment industry. We were turning down clients. But like the move from this day to Punch, the move from this name to this name signaled a new era entirely. entirely. We're very successful here. We're probably doing maybe 2, 3, 4 million naira per year, charging sometimes 250,000 naira per year as the annual retainer. When we moved here, in 2012, we wanted to make times 2 what we made. I can't remember the exact figure. Now let's work with, say, 60-70 million naira. So, this is not a bad year, you know. We made 60M. Our office was just off of me. They were sharing one duplex with another company. They were downstairs, they were on top. You know, so you do your projection. Next year we'll make 140 million naira. That's 2013, right? In 2013, by April, we had shattered all our projections. We must have made over 35 or 36 what we planned to make this year. And I can assure you that there was nothing differently that we're doing here than here. It's still the same skill set, same people, same business. But we've just realized that how do you configure yourself to be seen as a public relations agency? That's one step. What I did. I'm a very stubborn person. If I had my way, I would have gone to university.